So seeking blessings from our Shri Radha Govinda deities of Mangaluru, Nantur ISKCON, and seeking the best wishes, praying to our Dharma Guru, Mahaguru, Srila Prabhupada, and requesting our Shaguru, Namadisa Das Prabhuji, to bless us for this session. I want to start the first day's session, which is, of course, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Now, before we start off with the session, it's very important. We have to know what we are studying and who gave us the study, who is the entire architect behind this. He's the giver, he's the founder Acharya of our ISKCON, that is Srila Prabhupada. Just, of course, last session in the first BG18, I have told all of you about enough about Srila Prabhupada, but there's never enough about him, Let's just, as we say the prayers every day, every moment, we have to remember our Mahaguru for what he has given us in his lifetime. Most treasured things he has given us in his lifetime, and the way he has given us in his lifetime. He had, of course, a very hard journey. It was not a ordinary smooth journey for him. The way he took sannyasa and renounced the family order, and then he was attracted towards Krishna consciousness. And more of it you already know. In 1922, the way he met his guru, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, actually, and then and he had to, his guru found a lot of promises in his disciple. And I told you yesterday how he asked him to go around the world and spread the message of Krishna consciousness and inspire the entire world to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And in the span of 10 years, I think I mentioned to you the age, I don't know if I mentioned yesterday, at the time when we are all at 70, we are normally, we are all having so many ailments. We are cribbing with our ailments. That's the point of time when our Guru Maharaj, our Acharya, founder Acharya, left our country across the 7 seas, and that too in a ship, to spread the message of Krishna consciousness. More of it we have elaborated enough last time. You know the whole story, what happened. He had 2 heart attacks on the way, how he survived them, and then he prayed to Krishna. Only if he rode him through to United States, he would be able to complete his mission. And the way Lord was very kind to him, and then his mercy on him, all that we know. And of the parentage, his parents, we know, they were actually Gaur Mohan De and Rajini Devi. So now we a little bit of background, and the way he was interested in spirituality, conducting Ratha Yatras, how his father provided for it, for the Ratha Yatras, and how interestedly he was to do all the pujas and all that with his disciple friends. So in the beginning, he was into spirituality. And that is a seed actually sown by Almighty in him. So that had to grow into a spiritual tree only. But then in between, of course, he had a grihastha life also, which he very promptly he executed. Then at the appropriate time, on I think Krishna's orders, he quit the whole, his family order of life, and then got into spirituality. Details have been already shared with you, but today what I want to do, show you a very beautiful video. I want to show you a very nice video. It's on his way when he had 2 heart attacks, and he was afraid whether he would survive the 3rd one at all or not. And he told Krishna, in case I don't survive the 3rd heart attack, I will not be able to reach across. And then if I don't reach across, I'm sorry, this is what I could do. Then in the dreams, what happens? Krishna comes to him, and he rose his Jaladuta through, and then he, with the grace of Narasimhadeva and all the acharyas, it's a dream actually, and then he crosses. And then he has written a beautiful poem. So that video I must share with you now. You please enjoy this video. And the subtitles of the video, you can't, it's a Bengali song, so you'll not be able to, many who do not know Bengali may not be able to understand. So kindly follow the subtitles which are there. So this is, So Bolo Krupa Koilo Krishna. It's a very nice. He wrote it. Prabhupada only wrote it actually. This is the ship on which he, Jaladuta, on which he went to United States.
On September 17, 1965, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada arrived in Boston, America on board the ship Jaladuta, carrying within his heart the orders of his spiritual master to spread the teachings of Sri Chaitanya beyond the borders of India throughout the entire world. As he looked out upon Boston's bleak and dirty skyline, he could understand the difficulty of this sacred mission and felt great compassion for these godless people. Thus, with perfect humility, he composed this historic prayer, praying for the deliverance of all fallen souls.
Krishna adhamera prati Krishna adhame ইচ্ছায় নাশ মায়ার পরাশ গুরু কৃপা কইলে কৃষ্ণ অধমের প্রতি কি লাগিয়া নিলে হেতা করো এবে গতি গুরু কৃপা কইলে কৃষ্ণ তব ইচ্ছা হয়ে যদি তাদের উদ্ধার তব ইচ্ছা হয়ে যদি তাদের উদ্ধার বুঝিবে নিশ্চল তবে কথা সে তোমার বুঝিবে নিশ্চয় তবে কথা সে তোমার গুরু কৃপা কইলে কৃষ্ণ অধমের প্রতি কি লাগিয়া নিলে হেতা করো এবে গতি গুরু কৃপা কইলে কৃষ্ণ ভগবতের কথা সে তব অবতার ভগবতের কথা সে তব অবতার ধীর হইয়া শুনে জড়ে কানে বার বার ধীর হইয়া শুনে জড়ে কানে বার বার গুরু কৃপা কইলে কৃষ্ণ অধমের প্রতি কি লাগিয়া নিলে হেতা করো এবে গতি গুরু কৃপা কইলে কৃষ্ণ शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदयन्तस्थोय भद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी तदा
Hey, I am going.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah,
you were unmuted. You were all, I didn't speak, so I thought you were muted, but I have not muted any one of you. Please, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's
Yes, Mataji.
very beautiful.
Yes, Mataji.
In fact,
Very nice
tears, yeah, our eyes swell with tears when you think the ordeals that he went through on his way to stay, United States of America, and the heart attacks. We are so pampered at our homes. When a small pain is there, you get pampered, you are cared for. But he was alone on the cargo ship. He couldn't afford to even take a flight, or he could costlier travel transit to America. He had hardly 40 rupees with him and a few Bhagavatam books to sell when he went there to make a living. So with that, he actually, when he boarded, there was a very benevolent lady like Sumata Morarji. With her, she had a cargo, such a organized institution, office, arrangement where she could allow him to go across. He said, I can only help you in this. I couldn't, but it's a cargo ship which carries all the, materials. So in that, he was dumped in a place, and they really, I swell. If it's our own person, someone suffering like this, we can't take it. It's so difficult to even imagine like that. He's very much our own. He's more than our own, actually. He has given us so much to learn, so much to actually realize. And what is his aim is to take us back to Godhead. That's what all of us have to follow him if you have to really reach back to Godhead. Then the way, how the whole miracle happened, and how Krishna rode him through there, and the way he changed the lives of the hippies there. It was a American in Vietnam War time. And the way those people, the Walet people, were intoxicated, addicted to intoxication, drugs and all that. the way he transformed them through his scriptures, it's marvelous. It's amazing. It's actually in Sanskrit, it's achintya. Just can't imagine. Inconceivable in English, actually. Inconceivable. That's our Prabhu, our Acharya, founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, obeisance to him. Whatever amount I may talk will not definitely, it won't be equal to what we just saw, We saw his journey through. Look at his face at that age. We are pampered here as our grandparents, our grandchildren, they pamper us, their grandparents. At that point, he has left, and within 10 years, he spread the message so actually rampantly, and he built 108 temples all over the world. And today there are thousands of temples, nearly 1,000 temples all over the world. And Hare Krishna Mahamantra is on it dances on everyone's tongue, and the lips always keep family. They vibrate to this particular Mahamantra. That's about it. I think the whole session, our sessions can be taken on our Acharya, founder Acharya, but then we'll have to come back to business. So, and we are actually, what we are doing is his orders only. We are just carrying them out. He actually followed his guru's orders, and then his guru's orders have come down to our Shiksha gurus, and we are being actually guided by them. So with their blessings, we are going to start the Mangalacharan. We'll start with the prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmulitan Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Yeah, with our prayers you have started now. Now, according to Srila Prabhupada, Gita is a basic practical preaching book. I've also told in the first session that our problems of the day-to-day problems of our life are answered in the Gita. There's no need to go to any friend or a relative or anyone for that matter. You can just have a Gita next to you. And just having it next to you is not sufficient. You should have read it, understood it, and that will give you the solutions to all your problems. Every problem has an answer there. So it's a practical book. It's not only theoretical book. It has actually, you get lessons how to live life. And the characters that we come across in Bhagavad Gita, we come across in our daily life. We have to deal with them. And how to deal with them. Beautiful. It's a very beautiful. I'll be doing it in a little analytical way today. In the BG18, we did it in a different way, but now it's not going to be just like that. A little bit of our analytical study knowledge will apply to this. And you can also definitely, when I say raise hands and give your opinion, you can definitely raise hands and answer. It's an interactive session. Now, those who wish to chant the shlokas also may raise hands, and definitely our admins will let me know, and then you can definitely recite the shlokas and then read the translation, and the word-to-word meaning also is always very good. What Srila Prabhupada told us was, you have to read and read again. See, no one has understood Bhagavad Gita as it is the very first time. You have to read again. And every time you don't only understand better, you understand, you get more meanings out of the same sentences. And even the introduction is so beautiful. So I've decided that now on, after our, one good thing about this session is that we only have to do half the chapter one day. Now followed by, I would keep that to the end actually. I want to discuss some of the very important concepts of Bhagavad Gita, which have been delineated in the introduction, which are the 5 components of subjects dealt with in Bhagavad Gita. The jivas and the prakriti, then the purusha, then the kala, time, karma, and all that. You have to do it in detail. I just mentioned you. You have to know what they are actually, and which of those are eternal, which of those are not eternal. We have to definitely know. And what is meant by eternity? What is actually not eternal? What is actually all those things are transcendental, spiritual. So many things are there. We'll be doing at the end. So first we'll do our the portion for the day, and then we'll pass on to the extra things. So this is a very practical preaching book. One must study BG inside out, and that will help. That will govern our external activities. It's not enough just keeping having a nice wrapper on it and worshiping it every day. Kindly don't make background noise. My request, kindly mute yourself. Yeah. Now, normally the scriptural books which are kept at home, the Vedic literature or the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Gita, Bhagavatam books and all. Kindly, please cooperate by not making background noise. Yeah. Now, these books are meant for worship on certain days in the year, especially during Dasara time. You keep it for worship. It's not for, again, it's kept in the rack. That's not the way it has to be honored. You have to read it every day, understand every day, and you will not understand. Even we, many things, we don't understand. I never claim that we are all knowledge. I have told you yesterday. So we still keep on reading and we get newer and newer meanings. So you have to read it inside out. So I'm going to just give you some, after this, one must understand the flow of philosophy and not in isolation. So the flow of philosophy, see, it's actually a flow. It runs through. So you have to understand what does a flow mean? Flow means it's a stream. So it doesn't cut off anywhere. So to understand how it streams into the next topic. So one topic leads into another. Here we have got Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. How one easily it slips into the other. You just can't make out. But they're beautiful. Kindly, excuse me, please. Kindly take care of your microphones. Yeah. So now I'll just try to, my way, I thought I would share this analytical study. Analyze Bhagavad Gita. At level 2, I think this is very essential. Now, in the first chapter, I think probably will, this is fine. Yeah. Before that, I thought a little bit out, but the Gita, how important Gita is, about Bhagavad Gita. Now, how is it described in Gita Mahatyam? What is can you tell me the shloka? What is it compared to? Anyone? Can unmute?
Gita is compared to Ganga.
Ganga, yes. Actually, the Upanishads, which are milked by Krishna, the Dogdha, this beautiful shlok in Gita Mahatmyam, where Gita, it's compared to the milking of the Upanishads by Krishna, and the nectar that we get is to drink is the milk, Gita. Okay, that's we see in Gita Mahatmyam. It's very relevant shloka actually in Gita Mahatmyam. The whole thing we don't deal because it has been already done to you in the Bhagavad Gita 18 course. But does anyone remember the shloka? Anyone?
Gopalanandana.
Please, can you utter the shloka loudly? I've given the screen also. You can share your and read from the screen.
Yeah. Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopalanandanaha pardho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdham gitamrutam mahat.
Yes. What does it mean? Kindly read. It's on the screen. This Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all the Upanishads is just like a cow. And Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd boy, is milking this cow. Arjuna is just like a calf. And learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad Gita. That's actually how beautifully it has been described in the 6th verse of Gita Mahatmya. And of course, we come to the disciplic succession, how it has been passed on. It's a parampara, transition. So, evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. So, Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter, 2nd shloka, this comes. This Bhagavad Gita, as it is received through this disciplic succession. So, from Krishna, then Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhva, all along, it is, there are so many. But at 32nd place, we have our Acharya, founder Acharya's name, that is A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. So it's even that is he's in the disciplic succession, and we have received from him. So we are receivers of the knowledge from Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Okay? His guru was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. He was the one who actually gave him orders to go abroad, and he completed his mission. So with that, now we come to the study that I just mentioned to you. Now, the first shloka, does anyone want to recite? Any hands raised, admins?
Can I
Yeah.
read?
Please. Yeah.
Dhritarashtra uvacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta mamakaha pandavaschaiva kima kurvata sanjaya.
It's the first actually verse in Bhagavad Gita. As you know, in Bhagavad Gita, there are 700 shlokas, of which only one has been uttered by Dhritarashtra. Okay. Now I just want to give you a few of my sharings with you, which I thought would be very valuable. Now, how should you read Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita should be read in association with a devotee. There's no point in reading it with a non-devotee. You'll have no respect for it, and you can't expect any reciprocation of divinity from him, or appreciation from him. So always read Bhagavad Gita in the association of a pure devotee, without personally motivated interpretations. So Haituki apratihata. So you have to always read unmotivated. No intention, no returns, no expectations. Okay, and unalloyed, continuous, pure, with purity of heart. You have to recite Bhagavad Gita without personally motivated interpretations, and never interpret. So it has been, see, Krishna said it 5,000 years ago to Arjuna. But before that, millions and millions of years ago, it has been spoken by Lord Krishna to Sun God, then Manu, then Ikshvaku. It comes down the line, succession. So that was millions and millions of years ago. And why was it again repeatedly spoken 5,000 years ago is our question. Can you tell me why?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, please tell me.
With the succession, the actual spirit of the Bhagavad Gita was lost.
Yes.
It was not narrated with the true spirit, how Krishna wanted everybody to understand.
Yeah, it didn't get passed on very sincerely, is it not? We have a claim called the Chinese secret. If you have 50 people and the first person is whispered something in the ear, and you ask him to pass it on to the rest of them, and when it comes to the 50th person, it's totally, completely
distorted.
Completely distorted. It will be something different. You start with infection, it become inflammation or whatever at the end, So that's what really happened. If it's not properly handed over from, generation to generation very properly, this happens. So it lost its, so it had to be read, spoken by Krishna to Arjuna. So now Gita, Arjuna understood Gita as spoken directly by the Lord. He didn't have any interpretations. Whatever Krishna said, he just accepted without any objection. He just listened very, Shravanam, he listened carefully, intently, and he understood that. Such understanding elevates a person beyond Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. So, Pradush Prabhu has come and just. Please raise your hand, Prabhu. I don't see your name.
Can you see Mataji? Hare Krishna?
I'm not able to see Mataji. Pradesh Prabhu.
And now, is it visible?
Name.
Hand is raised.
Yes. I can see now. Yeah. I'll make him post. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Hare Krishna. So now, when you listen so intently, what is the significance of that? Now that you have to know. Why do we have to study? We say Bhagavad Gita as it is. There are so many Bhagavad Gita books in the stalls, but they have their own interpretations, many of them. But this book, Bhagavad Gita as it is, has been translated verbatim by our founder Acharya, and we have retained the original spirit. Now, what does it do? It elevates a person beyond Vedic wisdom. So actually, you transcend and all scriptures of the world. So all scriptures, they're actually you're honoring them, and you get more knowledge than all those the knowledge that is there in all these Vedic scriptures. That's the advantage of learning Bhagavad Gita as it is. Now, beyond finding in Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures, things which are not to be found elsewhere are also found here, as it is directly spoken by the Supreme Lord. So, of course, the meanings of Bhagavad Gita, those are definitely there. But when you read Bhagavad Gita, there's no need to read other scriptures. All that is there in the other scriptures is there in Bhagavad Gita. Much more than that is there. So where is the need to go to so many other books? Absolutely not required. So that is why we have to read Bhagavad Gita as it is, very sincerely, intently. So that is the basic principle. What is the foundation of Bhagavad Gita? Now it is your Mataji just now read the first shloka, which has been spoken by Dhritarashtra. There's the only shloka spoken by him. So the basic principle, what is the foundation of the entire Gita? What is it based on? Where is the whole? It's actually a part of a battle, the Mahabharata battle. Now it happens. What is the venue where it is happening? We're going to study a lot about that today. What was the venue where the battle happened? Can you tell me? Very easy question. Yeah, please answer, Vaidehi Mataji. Yeah. What was the place?
Kurukshetra.
Kurukshetra, is it not? Kurukshetra. It happened there, and it happened between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And what is the basic principle? What is the foundation for the whole dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna? It is nothing but the discussions between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya in Mahabharata. They started. The first conversation? Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya, what are my sons and sons of Pandu doing on the battlefield? Just a question and answer to it. The answer Sanjay could not have got on his own because he was limited with his capacities. So he had been given special capacity of the divine vision by Krishna to observe the entire battle and narrate that to Dhritarashtra. So the king keeps on asking questions, and Sanjay keeps on giving the answers. The entire thing is the foundation of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is, in a sense, a part of the great epic Mahabharata. We all know that. Yeah. Now, it should be understood as it is. Yeah. Krishna descends on this planet in one day of Brahma. Every time, that is his schedule. What is his schedule? Or actually, every 8,600,000,000 years, he will appear. Yes, he comes on the earth. Lord Krishna first spoke Bhagavad Gita, I told you earlier, from sun god to Manu, and from him to sun god and sun god to Manu, Ikshvaku, and so on, hundreds of millions ago. So that is the first time Gita was spoken. It got distorted later, and it had to be reset. You have to accept this fact and thus understand the historical significance of Bhagavad Gita. How important this is. It's a historical monumental epic. So you have to understand it's so important. If it is not important, why would it have been respoken in 5,000 years ago? And why is it going to be respoken again when there's a possibility of that getting distorted? All these things we have to think over. See, there are so many books in the shops. Now, of course, some have copyrights keep on changing. But most books, once they write, it's in the stall, you read it once, then you are done with it. I don't think many would read a book many times, maybe at best 2 or 3 times, that's all. Beyond that, you know everything, the content, that you don't go further. But Bhagavad Gita is not like that. You keep on reading, you feel like reading every day. In fact, many of us, many, they do it as a parayana. They do it every day morning, get up in the morning, As soon as you get freshed up, you first read a few pages in Bhagavad Gita and then start the day. Of course, before that, we normally chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and start reading. But that is a daily thing. You never get bored. Again, you restart. Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Charitamrita, all Chaitanya Charitamrita, all of these books, we keep on reading. So that is the marvel of these scriptures. To interpret Bhagavad Gita without any reference to the will of Krishna is greatest offense. So we should never interpret what Lord says. Yeah. Now even in this session, I'm just presenting what has been told by Krishna only, whatever Acharya has told us. We never interpret anyone, and not a single word is going to be my own. Absolutely what God told us. So, and it's a great offense. You have no right to do it. Okay. In order to save oneself from this offense, one has to understand the Lord as a supreme personality of Godhead, as he was directly understood by Arjuna 5,000 years ago on the battle of Kurukshetra. Everyone should know how God or Krishna is great. You have to know he is great. Who is Krishna? Now, to know Krishna is great, you should know first who is Krishna. And everyone should know the factual position of the living entities. What are we? Who are we? We'll come to the second chapter. I won't rush through right now. You have already gone through it in the BG18 course, but you should know whatever our constitutional position is with Krishna. Who are we? Are we what we are? Are we our name? Are we our designation? Are we our address? Are we someone's daughter or husband or wife or children, whatever, brother, sister, friend? No, that is not we. They're only what we are related to in this material world. But we have only one identity, only one identity, whole and soul identity. We have been created by the internal potency of the Lord. So that we should know. And to realize that one thing, that one fact, true fact of life, we take the whole lifetime, not one, maybe several. Supposing till my last breath, I'm still not able to realize this. What will happen is if I'm on the road, on the way rather, I will get a very nice birth next time and I will continue with it. So that's the promise that Krishna has given us. Everyone should know that a living entity is eternally a servant, and that unless one serves Krishna, one has to serve illusion, Maya. You have a choice. You serve Krishna or serve Maya. If you serve Krishna, you're sure to go back to Godhead. If you serve Maya, you're going to be here again, taking birth and passing through all the different phases, and then ultimately die. Okay, and for again getting rebirth. So that's some of the important things we have to pluck from this whole scripture. By the spell of illusion, one tries to be happy by serving his personal sense gratification. Illusion, if you fall into Maya, there's nothing but sense gratification. Always 24/7, you want to please our senses. But you should not please our senses. Now we have to please our Lord in different forms, which will never make him happy. We will never be happy, never be contented. Instead of satisfying his own personal material senses, he has to satisfy the senses of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. The Lord wants this and he demands it. That's why actually he comes on earth and tells us he wants us to be rid of the influence of the material world on us, and our minds to be veiled, and the reins of the control which are in the mind has in its hands, the control of the senses. He wants to see that they're steady and we're able to progress in life, spiritual life, all life, not only spiritual life, even our day-to-day life, we need control of senses. Spirituality, of course, definitely you have to have the control, but even our day-to-day life, that is why I said, that is why all say it is called practical applications. We get anger in day-to-day life, we are disappointed in the day-to-day life, we are happy, and so many things, all emotions emote from us. But how to control them is very important. If you don't control, you have the consequences. See, never get, there are beautiful shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. In fact, I always tell all, it's Bhagavad Gita is a treasure of knowledge. And each shloka here is a verse, here is actually a gem, it's a jewel. So you have to be very, you should possess this treasure and relationship. Now we come to the focus. We're going to start with this now. Kurukshetra was chosen for battle. Why? Actually, now this is after this, we come to Lord Krishna's compassion. Now, this is, of course, after this, I'll just come to that Kurukshetra venue. So Shankaracharya describes Gita as a river of nectar. A description of Gita again. History of Mahabharata, you know, history actually. Gita is a part of Mahabharata. So this, no one feels ever, bored of listening to mythological stories or historical stories, because they are ever green. They give us, they never give us boredom. They give us actually pleasure. Now, Arjuna's denial of war, will come to it shortly. And Lord speaks Gita out of compassion for living entities. Actually, Arjuna did not want to know all this. Actually, Arjuna wasn't not at all interested in. I mean, he knew, he was knowledgeable, very knowledgeable. But then Arjuna asked these questions for our sake. It's for us to know. And otherwise, we had no occasion to know all this from Krishna. So that's what has been actually, that's what it means. So now we come to quickly, before we go to our first shloka. Now we say Dhritarashtra Vacha. We are talking about Dhritarashtra's conversation with Sanjaya. Now before that, who are we actually talking about? The two families, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. Now who were these Kauravas? Who are the Pandavas actually? Now it is a Kuru dynasty. Actually, they are also Kurus. Pandavas are also Kurus. But Dhritarashtra's narrow-mindedness, now that actually makes him feel like that. And we are going to now study after this the mind of Dhritarashtra. That's very, we never do this in BG18 because we just go through shlokas and give the meanings. We have to understand analytically what was working in the mind of Dhritarashtra when he asked that question to Sanjaya. Now before that, just a flash, the family background of whom we are going to discuss now. I think most of you would be knowing this. This is Kuru dynasty. Now Shantanu is actually the son of Pratipa. Then now this is Shantanu, out of Shantanu and Ganga, Bhishma was born. Okay. Now Bhishma is the great, stalwart of, the great figure in Mahabharata. Then Shantanu again out of marriage with Satyavati. Now Satyavati of course marries Parashara, and not exactly marries. Now her son is Vyasadeva. This is a family tree of the Kuru dynasty. Then Satyavati with actually now Shantanu take rise to this whole congregation. Chitrangada and Vichitravirya are the two sons. Now Chitrangada dies very early, and Vichitravirya is not okay. He also has early death. He's not. He's a very weak person. Then he marries to the Kashi princesses, Ambika and Ambalika. He dies very early. Then you know how through Vyasadeva, Shri Satyavati wants him to, the whole progeny has to continue. So you know the story how Vyasadeva begets, through his, a glance, actually 3 children. Now who are they actually? We have this Dhritarashtra out of Ambika, and then the Ambalika we get Pandu. Pandu is here, and then Dhritarashtra is born blind. Okay, the reason is Ambika close her eyes when Vasudeva comes to her, and the son is born blind. And of course, Pandu is born weak. He is the son of Ambalika, and he had a curse actually. He has a curse because he had observed a stag when a delicate stage of their situation. So with another female stag. So then he's cursed that he will, before he gets his progeny, he will be, if he tries to get his progeny, he'll die. So Pandu is, that's his curse with which is born. And of course, then the third child, actually Sapadasi, Ambalika's Dasi, she, again the glance of Vasudeva, and then Vidura is born. Vidura is absolutely perfect, intelligent, and great soul actually. He's actually Amsha of Yama. That's what they say. So he's there. And these are the 3 brothers now, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura. And of course, with this, Karna is born. Kunti has a special favor given to her that through sun god's benediction, she could get a child, and she tries her, the power of her benediction, and then she gets Karna. Karna is born to her. Then of course, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva. Now Yudhishthira is out of Pandu could not get any children because he was cursed by the Rishi. It was the stag was a Rishi actually. So when this happens, he is cursed by the Rishi. So Yudhishthira is born out of the benevolence of Yama, and then Bhima from Vayu, Arjuna from Indra. So they are by their grace they are born. And then Nakula Sahadeva are also born through Madri. Madri is the other wife of Pandu. Now, after, of course, Madri, none of these are actually fathered by Pandu. When he, of course, tries to father later, he dies. So he dies. So when he dies, Dhritarashtra takes over. We'll come to that story now. I wanted to come to this point actually. So Dhritarashtra is a blind king, not only blind by physically blind, but also blind by mind also. Spiritually also is blind, absolutely blind king. Now his sons were, of course, here we have Duryodhana. He marries Gandhari and Shakuni is her brother actually. Now out of Gandhari and Dhritarashtra, we have Duryodhana. Dushala is the only daughter, and Dushasana. And there are 100 sons in all. Okay, the wicked Duryodhana is one of the, they were most, irreligious children. Especially one was Vikarna was very good, but then Duryodhana was very bad, and they were not very virtuous. Duryodhana is focused. It's absolutely irreligious person. So that is the family of Dhritarashtra. Now here we come to, these people are very virtuous, very nice, very religious. Now this, of course, later Draupadi is married to that's a side story. We'll go to it later. Now Draupadi's children are all, the 5 children that she gets. Now Arjuna marries Subhadra, and of course, then of course Nakula Sahadeva. All of them, all the 5 Pancha Pandavas marry Draupadi, and there's a whole thing. It's a side story. We'll go to it a little later. That's not required right now. So Parikshit Maharaj, of course, he becomes a very important figure in Bhagavatam. He's actually a hero of Bhagavatam. So we'll deal it in Bhagavatam session. His son was Janmejaya. So we'll come to this point now. We'll come to Dhritarashtra. So this is the Kuru dynasty family. Now division, Now, of course, divisions of Bhagavad Gita. We have 1 to 6 chapters are in Karma Yoga. They deal with Karma Yoga. Then 7 to 12 Bhakti Yoga. 13 to 18 are Jnana Yoga. Now here, Acharyas give the following reason why Bhakti Yoga is in the middle of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Now Bhakti is always Rahasya. It is actually 9th chapter we get it. It's actually Rajavidya. It's a very secret knowledge. So it is sliced between the Karma Yoga and the Jnana Yoga. Whatever is very precious is always treasured and kept very safely. So what is the best way to keep things safely? Keep them hidden in the, hidden anywhere. We can hide it anywhere. So here it is hidden between the 2 sections, Bhakti Yoga and the, Karma Yoga and the Jnana Yoga. So it's sandwiched between the 2 of them. So Bhakti is Rahasya, very secret. Bhakti is essence of all scriptures. We come to it in 15, in the Purushottama Yoga, we come across the Rahasya, the secret of Bhakti Yoga. And Karma and Jnana Yoga are dead without Bhakti. Definitely, Bhakti is most important. Actually, Jnana Yoga, Karma and Jnana can lead to Bhakti. So Bhakti is very important to reach the supreme abode of the Almighty at the end of our tenure. Hence, surrounded by both. Bhakti gives life to Karma, and of course, see, just as the soul gives life to the whole body, and where is the soul? Inside, hidden. We can't see it. It's not exposed. The same way, Bhakti gives life. It's actually, it is the life for Karma Yoga and the Jnana Yoga. Generally, we do not disclose anything which is with its secret until we become intimate. So we commence with Karma Yoga, then slowly slip into Bhakti Yoga. Hence, out of respect, Bhakti is placed in the middle. Very important. And generally, all important people or dignitaries and all that, they're in the center and surrounded by the people around. So Srila Prabhupada all his commentaries are based on Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushana, which is actually very important. It's dedicated to him. His guru was Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura. So these are this is again succession. And Sridhara Goswami was a Avadhuta, actually, was born enlightened. He's a great enlightened person. And Sripada Ramanujacharya. Now, based on all 4 of their commentaries, our Srila Prabhupada's commentaries based on that. So entire Bhagavad Gita has got, we have started with the first shloka, because I wanted to introduce the whole thing to you. It has got this has been told you last time also in the first session. We have in all 700 verses in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Lord Krishna speaks 574 of them. Arjuna 84, Sanjaya 41, and Dhritarashtra only 1, in which actually started with the first section, first shloka. Just then we'll go back to it. So introduction, now the whole chapter is divided into two, 1 to 27 and then 28 to 46. The first part is introduction, preparations for the war. Now, what are the preparations? We'll see now. Now all about, seeing the armies on both sides, and then their conch shells and all their accompaniments and their duality of mind, all that, the whole thing will be the first, no war till then. Okay. In the second part, Arjuna gets terribly perturbed by what he sees on the battlefield, and is so hesitant to proceed with the war. So Arjuna's doubts are actually discussed there. Now I'll just come back a little bit of my study. I was just Kurukshetra war. You know that is where. Now, why was Kurukshetra chosen for the battlefield of Mahabharata? Is a very interesting topic. We have to know out of what we have studied last time. The Kurukshetra was chosen for battle, obviously, because it was uninhabited. The people there were not so many, uninhabited, and abundant with water and fuel wood. There's a lot of water, lot of fuel wood. So water is required in war, and fuel wood is definitely required. So fuel wood was very easily available. Now, it is called as Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. Why is Kurukshetra referred to as Dharmakshetra? Now, obviously, can you tell me why? Why is it called Kurukshetra? I mean, Dharmakshetra? Anyone can raise their hands? Ramila Mataji, please answer me.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I think it's because they're fighting the war for righteousness, so for the truthfulness and for the rights and wrongs of what was being done. So it's fighting for the dharma.
Yes, that's definitely very true. But another very important reason. You're not wrong. Definitely not wrong.
Sorry, Mataji.
Can I?
Yes, please.
Dharmkshetre, it means that whoever fights on this holy land will ultimately achieve the abode of Krishna.
Yes.
Even if it is right or wrong.
Even if it is right or wrong?
No. If it is even, Kurus or the Pandavas, they are together fighting on this holy land. Yeah. They will achieve abode of Krishna, ultimately.
Yeah, of course, my Mataji said the same thing. We're very close to both of you, are very close. Now, the word Dharmakshetra, a place where actually I have placed on the screen for you all, a place where religious rituals are performed, is very significant on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Why? Because the supreme personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. He was for Dharma. Krishna is for Dharma, is it not? Wherever Krishna is there, can there be adharma? Can adharma, I want an answer. Can adharma win when Krishna is there? Yeah, Mamita Datta, kindly answer. Mamita, Mataji?
No, ma'am. Wherever there is Krishna, God Krishna.
Yeah, the audibility is low. Audibility is
Krishna Momita Mataji, your voice is not audible. Can you please speak little louder?
Audible now?
Yes, yeah, better, yeah.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
Yeah. No, when Krishna is there, wherever Krishna is there, can there be a promotion of adharma?
No, ma'am. It's not possible.
It's not possible at all. So wherever Krishna is there, dharma has to win. It has to win, obviously. Yes. So again, you know this little story, what happens when Krishna is lying down. Duryodhana and Arjuna both go to him, and they are waiting for his, to see him, because for the war they wanted some wherewithal, they wanted some help. So Duryodhana is always, as usual, very obstinate and very proud with false ego. He goes and sits near, head is always important for our body, head is always the one sitting at the head is supposed to be superior, and the one at the feet is supposed to be inferior. So he first goes and occupies the position near the head of Krishna. And then Duryodhana, our Arjuna, very humbly, submissively goes and sits near the feet. When Krishna opens the eyes, he sees, whom does he see first? When you're sleeping, if you open the eyes, whom will you, if someone is sitting near your head and other person is at the feet, whom will you see first? Sudha Mataji, please answer.
The person who is sitting on the feet.
Obviously. So Krishna first sees whom? Arjuna. Then he asks him what he wants, and Arjuna is very submissive, with folded hands, is sitting there at the feet, not sitting at an elevation. But Duryodhana is at an elevation. He can't sit down, he's always prestigious. He thinks so. So then, when Krishna asks him what he wanted, Arjuna asks, he said, Krishna, I want you. I just want you. Then Duryodhana feels very happy. Oh, what a stupid fellow he is. He's asking for Krishna. Very good. I wanted his Sainya. I want his Narayani Sainya. I'll get it now. I'll get the Akshohini Sainya. I'll get the huge army. I can fight with it. So this is what he thinks. But then Krishna, all this design of Krishna only again, everything is designed. So whatever happens, you have to appreciate that. See, entire Bhagavad Gita, what has been spoken by Krishna to Arjuna is all Krishna's design. Whatever happens there, everything is his design. See, just as the weeds in a garden have to be weeded out to allow the good plants to grow. Now, this is one plan of Krishna to weed out the unwanted. And here unwanted ones, who are the unwanted people here? Who are the unwanted? Irreligious people? Unscrupulous people? Are they? Answer? Are they? Are you muted? You can unmute and answer? I don't know who has raised the hands.
Kauravas.
They should be weeded out. Yeah, weeded out. So then he has to do something about it. So again, the same case in Shishupala's case, he has to commit so many crimes to be weeded out. So he allows him to commit all those crimes. Then ultimately he sends the Sudarshan Chakra. That is his design. So everything that happens, what we have to realize here is that we too, whatever happens in our lives, absolutely designed by Krishna and go by it. So this is the reason why it's called Dharmakshetra. In the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Shri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's son, and of course they had to be weeded out. Okay. Now Kurukshetra, land of Dharma, it's a beautiful land. I think we may not be able to complete the 27 shlokas today. I think Kurukshetra, I'll continue from this tomorrow. I mean, maybe every day I'll tell you a bit extra information about the important places. So little bit here and then we'll pass on to the next shloka. Kurukshetra, about 100 miles north of New Delhi, is best known as the place where the great battle of Mahabharata was fought and Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. But long before that, Kurukshetra had played a dominant role in the history and culture of ancient India. For thousands of years, it was a hub around which the Vedic civilization spun its full glory. Kurukshetra's glorious religious importance is described in many scriptures, including the Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, and various Upanishads and Puranas. The scriptures refer to it as it's a place of meditation. That's why again it's Dharmakshetra. There are so many. If you ask the question, if tomorrow we are given a presentation, okay, you present on why was Kurukshetra called Dharmakshetra? There are so many reasons for it, not one. One is Krishna was there, definitely. And as Mataji just now gave the answers, Dharma would win that. Definitely, the righteous person would win that. Then there actually, it is a place of meditation and abode for demigods. They used to come and meditate there. The entire atmosphere is still charged with the chanting of the Vedic hymns, especially the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so we'll just complete here and go to the shlokas. The first verse of Gita refers to Kurukshetra as the Dharmakshetra or the field of Dharma, indicating that it was already known as a holy place. It's a very holy place. So this you can keep in your mind for an assignment, maybe in this session or maybe in level 3. Why was Kurukshetra called a Dharmakshetra? That is a very important question. Today one can find many ancient temples are there and sacred lakes. All this makes it Dharmakshetra, ancient temples. Wherever temple is there, obviously it's a place of Dharma only. In sacred lakes at Kurukshetra, an area about 100 square miles between the sacred rivers Saraswati and Drishadvati in Haryana state. Okay. Now we'll go to the next shloka of Bhagavad Gita, which is, I'm sorry. We were actually on the yes. Now what is really happening? What is really happening on the battlefield? What is actually, why is Krishna, why is Dhritarashtra asking our, what's his name? Sanjaya, the question, what's the first sloka? Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samavevita Yutsavaha Amaka Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurata Sanjayaha. So what are they doing? Kim Akurata. What are they doing there? My sons and sons of Pandavas. One second, I'll just charge it. The charge. Charge is running out. Sorry for the inconvenience. So, though Dhritarashtra is blind, he has a lot of turmoil, the volcano in his mind now. He knows the war has started. His sons and the Pandu sons are there on the battlefield. He has a lot of upheavals in his mind. What are the upheavals in Dhritarashtra's mind? Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. I think you can all see the screen. You can volunteer to read one by one. These are the points which are very important. This also can come to you as a question. Why was Dhritarashtra, what was the reason for the turmoil in Dhritarashtra's mind? We don't study all this in the earlier sessions because we don't go into detail of studying the mind of Dhritarashtra. We just go plain. Okay, yeah. Sumita Madan Mataji, please read. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, please read. Dhritarashtra.
Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory.
Yeah.
He was.
Why was he doubtful? We'll go. One question leads to another. One point leads to. Why was he doubtful? Go to the next one, Mataji.
Okay. He was aware that both his sons and the sons of his younger brother, Pandu, were assembled in that field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of a war.
Yeah, he knew that they had come for a war. The war has started. They're all actually. But where is Dhritarashtra? Is he on the war field? Where is he, Mataji?
No, Mataji. He was not on the war field.
Where was he?
He was in his kingdom.
Yeah, he was palace.
Yeah,
palace room.
Yeah.
Who was along with him?
Sanjaya.
Sanjay was there. Okay. Who was Sanjaya?
Sanjay, actually, he was able to see with the eyes of Sanjaya, and that divine eyes was given by Ved Vyasji to Sanjaya.
Yeah. Why did he give him the eyes?
Basically, Ved Vyasji wants to give these eyes to Dhritarashtra, but he rejected. But Ved Vyasji knows that in future he will surely need these eyes, and as Sanjay was his very capable student, so he gave these eyes to Sanjay.
Yes. He was his disciple, very, very favorite student, so he gave the eyes to Sanjay. Okay. So now he knew, Dhritarashtra knew that they were assembled there. A war is definitely going to happen there. But does he see what is working in his mind? Understand his mind now. Now, next point. Can anyone read the next point?
He did not.
Anyone can.
He did not want a compromise between the cousin's brother, and he wanted to be sure of the fate of his sons on the battlefield.
Yeah, I'm sorry, cousins. It's cousin brothers. I'm sorry, it's cousin brothers. So they're cousin brothers, is it not? He did not want a compromise. See, look at him. He knows they have assembled there. They're going to fight now. Okay. Then he is wanting it from inside. And by chance, they compromise and they come back, without winning. Even that is not agreeable to him. He wants them to fight. Okay. He didn't want any compromise. And he wanted, at the same time, see, he wants no compromise. He wants a war. At the same time, he wants his children to win. And he wanted to be sure of the fate. Yeah, continue. He wanted to be sure fate of his
But as the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship, even for the denials of denizens of heaven, Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle.
Very good,
He knew
Mataji. Yeah, please, yeah.
He knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably, because by nature they were all virtuous.
Look at this, the way his mind is working. He knows that his children are not virtuous. They are not good. He knows it. And he also knows that the sons of Pandu are very virtuous, very religious. So obviously, and where is the battle happening? On the, where is the war happening? On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Dharma Kshetra. So Dharma, it is definitely going to support Dharma only. So when he so clear, he knows his children are religious, and obviously such children will definitely not win. They will definitely lose. He knows that. And he also knows that Arjuna and the Pandu sons are going to win. But knowing full well all this, he wants his children to win. Look at that. What sort of a wicked mind is working, wickedness is working in his mind. Although, see, Pandu and Pandu sons and his sons, they are no different. So when Pandu passed away, all the children were under the care of Dhritarashtra. He was actually uncle. But only difference is, the Dhritarashtra and Pandu are definitely brothers. Only father is same, Vedavyasa, but then the mothers differ, they're Ambika and Ambalika. That's the only difference there. But that different, when we have to now actually, if research we have to really do, if you have to really do some research in this, you have to now go back into the life of Ambika and Ambalika, they are Kashi Raja's children. How were they by nature? What were their natures? Now, we see sisters may not be alike. They can be different. Were they really virtuous? You should see now that. That's very interesting. So this is again open-ended topic where you can go into greater details. You can go into studies and know what were the names, because all these are basically biologically transmitted. They're all genes are transmitted, and even natures are transmitted. So probably, see, Ambika, Ambalika. Now Ambika was Dhritarashtra's mother, and Ambalika of Pandu. So what were their natures for them to become so like this? Because that would be passed on. So very interesting topic it is. So that's how it is, So though he knew that it's not going to happen, he wanted them to, your child is not studied well, he's not going to perform, he definitely will fail otherwise, in the examination. But, you want him somehow to pass. What can he do? He has to obviously take to some malpractice and somehow pass. But is that the right way to think from a father's point of view? Should not. So one should not be like a father. Dhritarashtra like father is indicated here. One should be definitely not like Dhritarashtra. We should know the shortcomings of our children and try to rectify them and guide them on the right lines. He never did it because he was also blind. His children were also blind. So there was a blind alley in front of them. So Dhritarashtra sitting in the room along with Sanjaya was constantly getting to know the happenings on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Sanjay, we have discussed all this. He was actually his student, so he got the mercy vision, divine vision, and he was able to narrate the whole thing to Dhritarashtra. Now, please read this point, both the Pandavas and sons of Dhritarashtra. Please read this. Anyone volunteer?
Yeah. Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons as Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. One can thus understand the Dhritarashtra's mindset towards his own nephews, the sons of Pandu. Note, though the two brothers were fathered by Vichitravirya were Vyasa, the younger son Pandu was born to the Kashi princess Ambalika, and the elder brother Dhritarashtra was born to her sister Ambika.
So that could be, that's again a open-ended thing. We have to see how they are to know why the children were like that or the grandchildren were like that. So those, see, we have showed you in the last session, we showed you actually slide wherein, the milk, if a drop of lime is squeezed into milk, it breaks. And then you get the solid part and the serum, the milk, the whey actually. So what Dhritarashtra does here is, he should not have delineated his sons from the sons of Pandu. After all, they're basically their sons only, brother's sons. But he does that. He does that, but whatever he does, he does an action which is comparable to what happens when you add a drop of lime to milk. He did that. He separated the Pandus from his sons. But what happened was he got, of course, the solid part, but then nothing happened. Good only happened to the Pandavas. Though he tried to use his wicked mind to show his feeling mind, reflect his mind, nothing bad happened to the Pandavas. Good only happened ultimately to them. So if you think evil, you are going to be sufferer of that evil first. So very beautifully said, if you by chance swallow a piece of blade or a glass that is your enemy, you do it, you are cut first inside. Your body is first cut. Nothing, others will not get affected by it. So never do that. Again, a very great lesson from Bhagavad Gita for us to take home in our lives. So though he knew that he just separates them, and he deliberately claimed only son as Kurus. Actually, all are Kurus. All of them are Kurus only. He separates them as Kurus, and then become the Pandavas. They're actually basically Kurus. So one can understand what sort of mindset he had, a crooked mindset, uncle's mindset, which is so very, and later same Dhritarashtra is actually helped by Yudhishthira Maharaj at the end of the whole story, Yudhishthira Maharaj who actually takes him to his palace and takes care of him when all his sons are dead. But then see what is ultimate. All these things are wonderful lessons for us to take from. I think it's getting delayed time, but then, yeah. Just, yeah. We'll just do a little bit more and then this we just completed. I just wanted to discuss Dhritarashtra's mind today. Now, in this particular chapter, we have the summary of the whole chapter is here. So 1 to 27 we had to complete, but I'm sorry, we'll make it up tomorrow definitely, definitely it will be made up. So 1 to 13 speaks of Sanjaya. The Sanjaya informs King Dhritarashtra of Duryodhana's appraisal of the relative fighting strengths of the Pandavas. What happens? It's a summary actually. So here, Sanjaya tells him what are the strengths of the Pandava side, okay, and the lacuna or the shortcomings on the Kuru's armies. Bhishma and the Kuru army then loudly blow their shells. And as we go from verse to verse, we'll get all the details. Those we can go a little fast, we don't need much time there. What you done, the first sloka is very, very important in Bhagavad Gita. If this was not, it reflects the whole thing. Yeah, Dhritarashtra's mind spoken, unspoken words rather. See, he is not speaking much. He's actually contemplating in the mind. But what is working in his mind has been very beautifully depicted here. And then we have to understand how such crooked mind ruin themselves later. So Sanjay informs Dhritarashtra of Duryodhana's appraisal of the relative fighting strength of Pandus and Kurus. Bhishma and the Kuru army then loudly blow their conch shells, giving Duryodhana joy. So what joy? I don't think he really, it's I think sarcastic, because the conch shells blown, we'll be seeing which conch shells were blown. Can we continue till 9:30, Prabhu? Pradosh Prabhu or Murli Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
You tell
yes,
me when to
Mataji.
stop.
We will check with the devotees Saturday if they can accommodate with some more time. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Can you please raise your hand if you have the consent to little extend further? Otherwise, we can continue from tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mataji, we are getting good hands.
Yes.
So, Mataji, we can continue. Hare Krishna.
A little
Thank
bit
you
more
for
will
your-
continue. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Yeah. Little bit will continue. So Sanjay, now on 14 to 19 shlokas, of course, when the shlokas come, we'll go a bit, catch up the speed. On the other side, the blowing of Krishna and Arjuna's transcendental conch shells, as well as the blowing of the conch shells of the other members of Pandava army, shattered the hearts of Duryodhana. See, it is mentioned giving joy here, but actually what happens is, when all the Panchajanya and all those Devadatta, all those conch shells, Poundra, then Sughosha, Manipushpaka, or actually they're blown by all the 5 Pancha Pandavas. they create the shudder in the hearts of the Duryodhana. Yeah, but he doesn't express it. He internally is afraid. What he tells the Dronacharya, his guru, goes to the guru and tells him, see, be very careful. See, your own student, disciple, Drishtadyumna. Drishtadyumna was the son of Drupada Maharaj. And that bit of story, Drupada and Dronacharya were actually they were friends. They were colleagues together. They can't say friends because they were not in the same status level. Drupada was a king of Panchala, and he was Dronacharya was a poor Brahmana. They were in the same Gurukula, and then Dronacharya helped Drupada very much in everything. At the end of the whole session, the duration, Drupada tells Dronacharya, whenever you need in your life, you do come to me. I will help you. So nicely he tells him. And later, that point does come when Dronacharya needs help. His son, they get married severally, and then they have their own families. And Ashwatthama is born out of Kripi to Dronacharya, and they have poverty. Then no milk for the child. Then so difficult, and it's so very pathetic situation. Then he remembers the promise given by Drupada. He goes to him and says, "Give me some. I need help." He denies even recognizing him. Says, "Who are you?" That's that got into the air that got into his head actually. So he declines recognizing Dronacharya. Then he feels so upset and insulted, actually offended. He of course comes back, and then he takes as cutting it short actually. He uses the Pandav. When he teaches archery to the Pandavas, they want some guru dakshina to be returned to him. They said, "You help me in defeating Drupada." Then Arjuna with his archery, he defeats him, and then of course he gets half the kingdom, and then Dronacharya is happy. And his son is Drishtadyumna, whose son, Drupada's son is Drishtadyumna. Now to take revenge this, take revenge out of this, what Dronacharya did. He prays, he actually performs a sacrifice, and out of son, the fire god, 2 children are born to him. He wanted a son who could kill Dronacharya. That is Drishtadyumna. Now in this war field, he is on the side of the Pandavas. He is on the side of Pandavas. So he tells Dronacharya, look, your disciple. And later what Drupada does is very cleverly, though his son, and his intention, look at the crookedness we see. All this we see in our lives, day-to-day lives. We see such people in our lives too. So it's nothing different that we see in Bhagavad Gita, or what we see different in our lives. So he tells Drupada tells, he asks Dronacharya with of course vengeance in his mind. He says, you have to train my son in all the war affairs. Then regardless of the enmity, the prior enmity, Dronacharya does treat him teaches him all the warfare, tactics, and then he becomes very expert. Now on the war field, using that knowledge, Drishtadyumna has now fabricated a military phalanx against Dronacharya, against the Kauravas. Now Duryodhana goes and tells him, see, look, your student who learned under you, whom you taught, now he is actually fighting against you, has formed a frame against you. See, be careful. Now don't be foolish. The way you taught him, you taught your enemy's son all the tactics of warfare. Now don't do the same thing here now. Now don't get defeated by him. Just tauntingly says that to Dronacharya. But Dronacharya is unmindful. He just, this is actually, so inwardly he is very afraid that, the Pandavas are very strong-willed, they're righteous, they're virtuous, they're on the side of Dharma, they are bound to win, they have Krishna on their side. There are many more symptoms, we'll come to it as we go through the different shlokas. And what were the symptoms of winning for the Pandavas? But then these are the most important. So internally is very surely is shuddering actually, but he's not showing it off. He's like showing us he's very, very strong. Arjuna requests Krishna to draw his chariot between the two armies, 20 to 27. We'll definitely complete till that. I'll try to complete the whole thing. Let's see how we'll plan it. Okay. Now Arjuna requests Krishna to draw his chariot between the two armies to observe the Kurus. Arjuna sees many relatives and well-wishers on both sides. That is the reason, we actually end there. We'll go to shlokas tomorrow. But 27, when Arjuna is about to take the bow and arrow and start fighting, he's very prepared to fight. But then, he tells Krishna what stupid these people are. They're welcoming war, with things could have been sorted out without war. See, what did we ask for? When we just asked for righteous things, we wanted some land to rule over. They gave us the Kandava forest, and we made it into a beautiful Indraprastha palace where we were having a wonderful, we were living so happily there. We invited them to come there. They came to us. We had a nice time. They in turn invited us to Hastinapura. We went there. They actually planned a dice game, and Yudhishthira was weak for it and he lost it. And then, the whole story, what happened, Draupadi was, she was actually insulted. And then how Krishna came to help her and saved of the insult. But then they had to go on exile for Ajnata. They had to go to the forest. Then they returned. On returning again, what were they asking for things? Just give us 5 pieces of land, 5 villages to rule. That's all we want. Nothing more than that. Did they agree to give that? They never gave them that. Then it comes to war. Then Krishna actually goes to have a settle the whole thing with the Kauravas. He goes and tells and give them 5 villages. They just rule. They're just very, very nice people. They will not come to bother you. Duryodhana says, not a place, not a point to pin. Even fix a pin, will not give them. That actually calls for the wars. And so Arjuna is very sorry about it. He's not happy because he sees Bhishma in front of him, his teacher Dronacharya in front of him, Kripacharya, and he sees so many important people. His own cousins are there, and and father-like people are there, and then children-like people are like friend-like people are there. He says, how are we to kill all these people? What are we going to get other than bloodshed? He didn't want that to happen. So he says, let me see against whom I'm fighting. Let us see who they are. So he tells, Krishna was his charioteer. Krishna had told him, he said, when the 2 people went, Duryodhana and Arjuna went to him, he promised Duryodhana the Akshohini Sainya, 11 Akshohini Sainyas. And then Arjuna, of course, Krishna got him, but he said, I'll come with you, Arjuna, but don't expect me to fight. I will not raise any weapon. I'll just be with you. And he says, fine, no problem, I'll come. And he says, as a charioteer, see, look what all Lord does, See, Lord is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is everything. He is actually, we are because of him today. But then he can even become a charioteer to a real devotee and a disciple. So he can do anything. There's a very beautiful shloka in Kannada. They say, Huva Taruvara Manike Hullu Taruva. See, God is so great. Those who carry flowers to him, to his house, he carries hullu, that is the grass. He serves them like that. That is Almighty. That is Almighty. So here he is a charioteer. Now he orders, Arjuna not orders him. He says, please take me in the center of the army field. I want to see both these army sides. I want to see whom against are we fighting. Then he feels very bad. Compassion starts, all his people, how to kill them. So then his doubts start arising. So Arjuna requests Krishna to come to the center of the war field to observe the armies. Arjuna sees many relatives and well-wishers on both sides. That is where actually he gets bewildered and feels so sad. Ultimately, helplessly, he has to agree for what? And that will be for the further shlokas. So tomorrow, we'll concentrate when we assemble tomorrow. We'll start with the shlokas straight away, come up to 27. It won't take much time because I've given you all the background information of all the shlokas. Okay, little bit of information like who was on whose side, Kunti Bhoja, then Bhurishrava, the Kirtivarma, all those, Kritavarma, all these people, where which side they were, those names only will come tomorrow. So we can go a bit faster tomorrow. So tomorrow, those are volunteering to say the shlokas. Please be ready to say shlokas up to 27 and read the word to word, the translations and the main translation. And purports have been actually dealt with now. Entire till 27, we have dealt all the purports. So then we'll be able to go faster to the second half of our chapter tomorrow. Extremely thankful to you for your patient hearing. Hare Krishna, all of you. Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, you are. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, because when there's no response, I feel sometimes there are internet problems, and then we get cut off, and we don't realize we are actually cut off. So that happens. Now it's the session is open to discussion. You can ask me questions, please. Burli Prabhu, do we continue with recording or should we stop recording?
Please stop recording. Yeah.
I'll stop the recording.